Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on August 7th. I am, as always, Chris Corns.
And I'm Hithroc.
How you doing, Hithroc?
It's quite alright. We've had several rains now, so the weather is good.
Cooled off a bit. Yeah, it's cooled off a bit here, too. No
So yeah,
rain, unfortunately, but still livable.
maybe soon.
You ready for more beta cards?
I am.
I should hope you are.
Are
You were the
you
one who
ready
picked
for
them.
more?
That's the
Yeah.
question, isn't it? Yes. Last time we had some pretty interesting ones.
We've have some, I think, interesting ones today as well.
Good to hear it.
Do you like keywords?
New keywords?
Well, we have like two keywords handy in training, and today we'll see a training card.
Interesting. Sorry, you said training with an N? Or trade?
Training, as in being trained.
Okay, sure. It sounded a little bit like trading for a second there.
No.
But training. Okay, that's interesting. And sorry, you mentioned handy as well, but not here.
No, not here. But we've seen Hand already before. But I think or at least you, haven't seen a training card yet, right?
I'm pretty sure I have not.
So that's what's in store today, as well as some other interesting cards.
Okay, well, don't want to wait. Let's get to it.
Sure.
Right, and then at the end, we'll just mention a little bit about Continentals, which are next week. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, here we go, right off the top.
Yeah.
Blue, bulk training, 1 power, 3 cost, 3 blue requirement. Training 2. So, when this card enters play, if you have a character with higher power than this card, you may draw... Oh, okay. Grandpa's is already here reminding me that the reminder text is going to change. Okay. When this card enters play, if you have a friend with higher power than this card, you may draw X cards and discard X cards. Thank you, Grandpa's. When you discard a card, put a +1 power counter on this card. So, I can understand the change, because with character, that's pretty easy.
Guaranteed.
X is referring to the number in the keyword, right?
Yes. So training 2 would mean 2 here.
Okay. So draw 2, discard 2. It's a very blue thing.
It is.
Let's see. I'm interested, like, if this is going to be a blue-only keyword or not.
You don't know.
I don't know. I mean, historically, all of the cards that have been draw a card, discard a card have been blue, I think.
Yeah, or, well, multicolor as well.
Right.
Blue.
And when you discard a card, put a +1 power counter on this card. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so like if you have a bunch of training cards in your blue deck, this card would get power counters pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it'll easily be a 3 for 3, so long as you have a card with a friend with 2 or more power out, which is not hard at all.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if you've got a discard-focused deck, it'll grow pretty quickly. Which, if your discard all takes the form of draw then discard, then you're not losing card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Cards in hand, so you can do that. It's funny. I was actually having a conversation recently with someone about how blue never really got a whole lot of good discard synergy.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Like, I guess this helps a lot.
Yeah. Basically, having like any friend that is not 1 power is enough to trigger this card when you play it, which probably means it's free for free 100, not 100, but like majority of the time.
Right.
And then it scales further.
Yeah. And the it's 1 printed power to compensate for the fact that it scales, and also it makes it a low flip.
Yeah.
which, well, let's see. Low flip keeps it out of farming decks, usually. And also just kind of countermands the face-off potential of a deck that presumably is going to have lots of high-power friends in it from all these power
Yeah.
counters you're going to be throwing around. Okay.
Seeing that this is an uncommon, I'm actually curious. Like, is this card good in draft? Like, on one hand, a scaling friend is pretty good.
Hmm?
On the other hand, milling through your own deck when the deck is only 30 cards, I don't know. Like,
Right.
I have hit the deck bottoms in draft decks for sure.
I've hit them without even really having a lot of
Trying,
card draw in
yeah.
my deck. Yeah. Yeah. It's. Hmm.
So it's an interesting consideration. It's not as simple as some other cards.
Right. Right. It would. Well, yeah. Depend on how much synergy there is for it in the set, and
Yeah.
um, a bit on how prevalent removal is in the draft environment too. Actually, because if this is liable to get to 4 or 5 and then your opponent just blows it up, then it's probably a net negative. Yes.
Yeah, but like you like usually an opponent would have like one or two removal cards in their deck
Hmm.
as a whole. So if they remove this card, that means they won't remove something else. Like I don't think removal is that big of a threat in draft. You usually can pump out more power than they can remove.
Usually, like, wasn't belly flop a common?
Shush. Yes, it was. But it also removes their friend.
It's true. It's true.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, cool idea. This whole training thing. I'm most interested to know if this is only going to be a blue keyword or if it's going to be all over the place. But I'm sure I'll find that out later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, yes, I remember seeing the name of this card, White Quest, and being interested in it because I remember we had Pink Quest earlier.
Yes.
And it's always interesting when you see multiple cards with the same test name.
Especially prefixed by color.
Indeed. So anyway, 2 power, 3 cost, 2 rec, show a1. When an opponent spends their last action token, they pay 1 AT to put this card from your hand into play. Now that's interesting. If I remember correctly, the pink card also could come into play for free, or for 1, right?
Yeah, so pink card said when you draw your third card, you may pay 180 to put that card into play.
Okay. So that implies that we're looking at a cycle that has some condition on going into play for 1.
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, it is based on the opponent spending their last action token. Now that's good synergy in white, which has been lately focused a lot on making the opponent pay extra AT for doing stuff.
Yeah. But
Um,
also spending their last action token is something we've seen in white, like since Premier Block.
hmm,
I'm pretty sure. Like there was a card that had the same mechanic to do something, but it was like in play. It was proactive. This one is reactive.
right.
Maybe it wasn't Premier, but I'm sure there was a card like that before.
Right. So, I guess one thing about it is you're. It seems like it'd be difficult to get any immediate value out of that showy, because your opponent just spent their last action token, so they're not going to try to move something on the turn, unless it's a free move somehow.
Yeah.
Um, but as a 1 cost 2 power friend, well, I guess.
Utopia says that going to need main phase on these quests. No, it's a trigger.
Yeah,
You can put this card in. You're likely to put this card in on the opponent's turn and not your turn.
yeah. You only need the timing phrase on activated abilities.
Yeah, and this is a trigger.
Sorry, what was I going to say there?
Yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No, I saw the chat too. It was fine. Ocellus compares printed power to cost, right? No,
Yes. Yeah, I think it's. Is it not
it's
printed?
no, it's power to
Oh, it's higher power than cost.
yeah,
Yes.
power to printed cost. Not that you ever need to make that distinction with cost.
Not anymore. You used to.
Right. So this is never going to, well, do good for Ocellus on its own. Yeah, it's a little. It's an interesting card. It's nice to have in there to throw in your tax deck. Maybe not quite so exciting as some of the other ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a friend for 118,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have to happen on their turn. It can happen on your turn. Like if they remove something to stop
Yeah.
you from confronting, and
Yeah.
that was their last IT. You just okay, I put this thing.
That's honestly a pretty legitimate idea. Um, that happens quite a lot. Your opponent saves the one or the two or whatever for their one trick, and then uses it, and then get this. Pretty legitimate, actually.
Yeah, and sure, show is not relevant in that scenario, but still.
True. Yeah, I think I might be at the point where I look at Showy 1 and just see that as white space, basically. Um,
It's
although,
relevant sometimes.
what was the card last set that amplified Showy? It like said Showy cards work when you play the card or something like that.
Oh, I can't remember. Let me check.
I remember there was a card last set that
Yeah.
made Showy more relevant than usual.
Oh, opponents must pay +1 to play cards at problems with one or more characters with Shobi.
Right. Yeah.
Yona and Sambar, pink, white.
Pink white. Yes. So I mean, that makes you think about. Um,
So GP throws you a little bone saying that only a select few of the quests have main phase on them. Do with that information what you will.
so some of them are activated abilities. Then is the
Some of them maybe have like activated abilities and the trigger that puts them into play. That could be a possibility.
interesting. I'm definitely interested, and I know this. The answer to this question isn't here yet. How these quest cards are going to get flavored? Well, presumably calling them a quest per se, air quotes, is just like test mechanic speak, and they're going to be flavored as whatever,
Yeah.
not
I mean, they
necessarily.
have to be friends.
Yeah,
That's like the biggest restriction that I see. You can just make it like a location or something. It has to be a friend.
right. Anyway,
But that's for Aura to figure out, not us.
yeah, absolutely. Um,
So yeah,
yeah, I'd like to see more of these. I know this is the only one I'm seeing today, but
yeah. I threw it in here so you know it's a cycle.
keep an eye out for those. Okay, Crowstorm. We saw a very exciting yellow card last week. Let's see. Two power, 4 cost, 3 yellow requirement. This card enters play with 2+1 power counters on it, so it's a 4 for 4 regardless. At main phase, remove a +1 power counter from this card to put a -1 power counter on opposing friend here. Activate this ability no more than once per turn. Well, now that's interesting.
-1 power counters again.
Well, I mean, yes, they were. It was. It was Cranky
Neither.
and Sunburst last set that did
Mm-hmm.
those. That was an orange yellow card, I think, right?
Yep.
Right. And admittedly, orange yellow is what I think about here as well. Because orange is the color that lets you put more +1 power counters on this.
Did this card get adjusted last night?
Oh,
I might have missed that.
fair enough. Okay. So say it cost goes to 5 and it gets 3 counters on it.
Oh, that's expensive. Like 4 and 5 is a big difference.
Hmm.
It's 180, but it's big.
Oh yeah. I mean 5 usually that's tricorns.
Tricorns.
Yeah. Or gigantic events like school shutdown.
But yeah, I can see why you want orange here, because you have shovel, you have all the other things that put power counters on friends.
Hmm.
So this way you can put power counter on opposing. But like at that point, you might as well just play Sunburst and Cranky.
What did they do again?
They replace +1 power counter. Like when you put +1 power counter somewhere, you may put -1 power counters instead on an opposing friend.
Right. Okay.
So like if you shovel your friend, you can choose to put a -1 on someone else instead.
Gotcha.
And this kind of does the same thing. Like you put power counters on this thing, and you can redistribute them as -1 power counters.
Similar, yes. So I guess there's two things I find interesting here. First is that text. Activate this ability no more than once per turn. Because theoretically, you could say exhaust this card and remove a +1 power counter from this card, yada yada yada, to achieve the same the same effect.
But then it won't be able to confront, and
yes.
you don't want to put stubborn on it because it would be orange.
Exactly. It's just interesting to. Yeah, they explicitly
Yeah.
wanted this to be able to use its ability and still contribute its power to confronting. The other thing is that that limestone pie that reduces the cost of friends. Her cutoff is like it has to cost 3 or more.
4, I think.
I know Utopia's here; he can tell me for sure.
The orange expert.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's 4 or more power.
Cards with 4 or more power. Oh, I see. So this explicitly isn't on that.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Okay, so how do you get around this costing 5 then?
Well, if it's a crit, we don't know if it's a critter or not, but like Crow Storm might be a critter.
It's kind of
Maybe
a hint.
not.
Yeah.
We have ways to put critters into play, right? Also, GP mentions that since this card is 2 power, it buffs Thorax and it works with Trading Water, which is also orange-yellow card.
True. Different synergies, but very true. Yeah, that's right. GP also mentions like the stuff that can cheat critters into play will usually cost based. Like it has to cost 2 or less or something like that.
True.
I think the only way is to flip it with that ultra rare Fluttershy.
Yeah.
Which
You have
is
to like name it. It's
yeah,
hard.
always been a hard thing to do.
I think the synergy with Trading Water is actually very important because this card is location restricted. It says put a -1 power counter on an opposing friend here, which is a pretty big restriction.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, -1 power counters again.
It's an interesting card. I mean, I've said before that I want -1 power counters to be more of a thing. I think yellow is the right color to put them in.
Yeah, yellow has always been about that.
So that's
Reducing
good.
Power.
I am, I'm just a little bit. I mean, that's so expensive for a yellow deck. But
Depends on what kind of yellow deck you're running.
perhaps.
Like maybe not for aggro, but like if you're playing this in aggro, like you wouldn't care about opponent's power that much anyway, because removing a power counter to reduce their power by 1 doesn't like it's net zero.
Hmm.
It's the only 5 cost yellow friend and core. Incorrect. We have yellow tricorns.
Right. He
Yeah, I
appended
know. I know.
mono yellow on right after that.
He knew. Actually, we have tricorns. Well, anyway, should we
Yeah.
move to the next card?
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. It's an interesting card. It kind of tingles my Johnny sensibilities right away because it seems so outside the ballpark of what yellow, at least what we're used to yellow normally doing. Um. And I want to try to make it work. Okay. This was a card, by the way. Saw the title and immediately remembered what had been said about this set being fond memories.
Yes.
And I was like, they hadn't made a card of this yet? Like seriously? But yeah, fair enough. Our pink song.
Yeah, that's our next song.
Smile, smile, smile. 6 flip, 3 cost, 3 pink. Search your deck or discard pile for a pink friend. Deck or discard pile, interesting. Or a pink friend, reveal it and put it in your hand. Then, either replace a problem or shuffle an opposing friend into its owner's deck. Oh, those are all very good. Like tutor or bring back a pink friend into your hand. And then replace a problem, which is, I mean, this is a little expensive to do that, but
I mean, you're bringing a friend back.
yeah, couple it with the other thing that's really good, and unconditional removal. And that's even better than going to the bottom of the deck or to the top of the deck. You know, it's getting it out from some random place in the deck is basically, well, not impossible, but very hard.
I would argue that bottom of the deck is still better.
In core, I guess yes. Now that there's no bottom deck access, right? Yeah.
I think there was something, but it wasn't like consistent. But yeah, we don't have like Doctor Hooves or anything. But even with Doctor Hooves, that's like one deck where that matters.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of them, putting things on the bottom of the deck is still really good. That's why Napcakes is so good.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's an unconditional tutor too. That is,
Well, pink is quite a condition, I would say.
I mean, it's well, okay, fair enough. That's true. Got to be pink. That is a fair point. But I mean, I'm thinking of compare with Mrs. Cake. You need to have a friend out that's got the higher cost already, well, higher or equal. And
This
then
cake puts it right into play, and this just into
okay,
your hand.
that's a fair point.
Like
That's a fair point.
different cards, I think, for different things.
Yeah, okay, that's reasonable. Um, yeah, seems really good.
Yeah,
Problem replacement is great against farm, great against aggro, often enough. Just really good in general. Or if neither of those are relevant, shuffle an opposing friend into its owner's deck is likely to be relevant.
yeah. Which Berry Punch and Orange Soul are still a thing. You tutor them and then play Belly Flop, and that's 5 AT free friends removed. Sorry, not free friends removed. Yeah, free friends removed.
Yeah.
But they are not a thing anymore.
Rest in peace. Yeah, this just seems like a really good song.
Yeah.
Which
GP points out that Smile, Smile, Smile is the only possible option for a pink song. I think that's true. Like you're not picking anything else for the pink song of the set.
yeah, there's yeah, pretty much. The question is who's going to be smiling. Hopefully both players.
Well, you're removing my friends.
Right. Like it's you need to uh do a little karaoke as you're playing it. Then the opponent will
Yeah,
definitely smile with you.
we need the text like on the old cars, like do a little song,
Right.
like on the CMC, I think Showstoppers, they
Yes.
were called.
Yes. Anyway, super cool event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next thing.
Right. And then we had a resource. Fair but firm. 2 cost. 1 yellow requirement, 3 flip. Play on one of your characters. While this card is ready, characters have +1 power. While this card is exhausted, characters here have -1 power. At immediate speed, exhaust this card, but only on your turn. Not quite immediate, but still better than main
About
phase.
half immediate.
Half immediate. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. So on your turn. So I mean, if you want this to apply on your opponent's turn, what you do is you exhaust it on the in your last priority window on your turn, basically.
Yeah.
But then the opponent at least can play around it properly and doesn't have to. There's no sort of chicken going on whether or not you're going to exhaust it.
Yeah.
So where does this go? Characters here have.
In the yellow deck, I would hope.
Thank you. Characters here have +1 power. So obviously that is best when you have as many characters as possible to get that benefit. So treading water makes
Want
sense.
my hot take?
Sure.
It goes into a Nova deck.
Hmm.
Where you have a
So
bunch of creatures to like confront a problem, and then you exhaust this card, and all of your creatures have 0 power.
right. So you can confront and then lose the face off afterward. Well, lose air quotes.
Yeah. And the +1 thing, +1 power also helps you force single face offs. If they don't confront a thing, you can give them this little boost to force a single face off, and then you lose it with Nova.
That's true. Yeah, do it on your turn. Confront, and then after the confront step, exhaust. So now there's a face off, but I have no power there. I mean, it still suffers from the usual Novo problem of them. Oh, but you put this card on Novo, so if they remove it, then this card goes away.
Yeah. And you probably win the face off, hopefully.
Yeah, okay.
She also mentions if there only was some synergy with raiding or exhausting cards, certain types of cards in this set.
Right.
Yeah, there was something about that, right?
I
Exhausting
vaguely
resources.
remember something about exhausting resources. Yes. I would go look at my cards if I didn't think that the window will probably appear on this
It's
screen, and
the
I don't
handy
want to.
keyword. Do you remember what handy keyword does?
I do not.
When a card with handy enters play, you may ready a resource. Or a ready or exhaust a resource.
Ready or exhaust a resource. Okay. So that lets you flip this. And sorry, was that handy card? I'm drawing a total blank. Was it hasty or immediate or anything?
Oh, handy is a keyword.
Yeah, but the card that had it before.
Oh, the card that you've seen before? I don't remember if it had hasty or not, but not all of them have hasty,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah, clearly.
Let me check. So the card that you have seen doesn't have. Did you actually see a handy card? You might have
I'm
not.
honestly not sure. I definitely don't remember having seen one. I
You
just
haven't seen. Okay, we'll throw
okay.
that in there
Unintentional
next time.
spoilers. Okay.
Oops. But you knew about the keyword, I think. I think it was revealed at some point for sure.
Maybe. Anyway, as CP points out, Handy is counterplay to this resource, which makes sense. You are, whether it's getting used offensively against you to make it harder for you to confront the problem, then yeah.
But here's the thing. With my Nova example, all of that happens on my turn, so they would need a hasty handy friend.
Yeah, well,
So
yes.
I think for Nova it's pretty good.
Yeah, for Nova it's really good. I'm thinking about more I guess, what you might naively expect, somewhat more conventional use of this card, where
Yeah.
you use it to boost your friends to single confront the problem, and then turn it off, or exhaust it rather, so that now it's hard for the opponent to confront it. And then if you turn it back on, then now it's actually helping the opponent confront the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, like Unity 15 Fluttershy GP. Good point. She's the one who's like, if you're over confronting by 5 or more, you score 2 points, right?
I think so.
I believe that's how it works. And yeah, makes a lot of sense in that deck too.
Yeah, it's by 5 or more you score a point.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, pretty cool yellow resource. I like your thinking, Hithroc. I think
Nova thinking.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's my hot take on this card.
I'd love to see it happen. I might try to make it happen.
We'll see.
Alrighty.
Next card. I
Next
think we
card.
only have a couple left.
Yeah, this and then 2 more. So our white plus not white problem. I see 3 bonus. I'm interested. When you banish a card from anywhere, your characters here have +1 power until the end of the turn. 5 white, 3 not white, 8 to the opponent. You banish a card from anywhere. So that, yeah, from play, from hand, from discard
deck,
pile,
whatever.
from deck. From flip zone, actually. Do that too.
Which zone?
From the flip zone.
Oh, yeah. I think there's only one card that does it, though, but still.
Well, I mean, if we're in Harmony, you could be using pumped cards.
Oh. Oh. Now they're really pumped.
Yes. Anyway, let's see. So, orange banishes stuff from discard pile, relatively as a thing it does.
A lot of colors can banish things from discard pile. So first we have the colorless chrysalis, then we have cleaning up in white. I think we have magical misfire, which banishes discard pile and gives you a lot of power with this problem.
Right.
Banishing from discard pile, I don't think is exclusive to any color at this point.
Right. Yeah, I'm actually seeing purple as having quite a lot of synergy here.
Yeah, in Harmony you have Destiny Drain, which is pretty interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, in core, excuse me for saying so, but you have Legacy Leech.
Yeah, in core you have Legacy Leech for sure.
Now, that 5 white wreck, I know my deck's not going to be able to confront this anytime soon.
But your characters get +1 power. Yeah, you're going to get, if you have a white friend, just banish a couple of cards until you have enough white.
Well, you need white and not white.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just like any other color and not color problem, is it not?
Well, yeah, I guess so. Misfire, yes, good point. That's the one that banishes the whole discard pile, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier.
Right. Another card that came to my mind right away actually is that Zecora that banishes 4 cards out of your hand.
Yeah, and you can play them.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because that idea of banishing stuff. There's a lot of cards that do that for various purposes, and
Yes.
this is the first time that's kind of all unified into a single. This is the thing that does this.
There are also, so remember Ravers?
Yes. Oh,
It doesn't do much here because they banish at the end of the turn, but there are some other things that banish tokens and things like that.
right. That's an idea. Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of the tokens actually get banished at the end of the turn, but there are ways to banish things easily.
Yeah. And I know you're obviously your grandpa's in the chat. For what it's worth, I know I say this like every stream these days. It seems, which is good. This is the kind of card design that I really love. Like it opens up a kind of whole new class of synergies and makes you have to look back at the whole card collection and see what can possibly work with this. Really good.
Portal effects are pretty nice as well.
Portal effect, yes, very good.
Then you have Grogger, who also likes banishing. Then you have a bunch of orange cards that banish themselves from discard pile, like Golden Parachute. What else do we have? We have something. Your Celestia deck might like this card. Yeah.
Hmm? Yeah.
5 white is hard, but it's not that hard when you banish a lot of cards. Like, I don't think high rec here is a problem.
On the subject of adventure, that ultra rare Starlight Troublemaker that
Oh, yeah.
banishes like 4 cards from each deck each turn.
Is it you who banishes those cards, though?
Hmm.
Each player banishes their cards.
Right. So you only banish 2 of them.
Yeah. That's still alright.
Still not bad, yeah.
And, like, so the way that modifiers work here, right, is that when you banish cards, you don't have to have any friends there. Like, it will be like a cloud effect, right? If you move any friend in there, you'll get the power.
Right.
So if you banish things at the start of your turn with Starlight, and you have nothing at this problem, as soon as you move something in, that thing will have +2.
Yeah. Pretty good. And we kind of glossed over it now that I'm talking about everything else, but 3 bonus. 3 bonus, very
Yeah.
good.
Oh, you know what? Other cards are also cool.
Yeah.
In purple white, we have like a bunch of cards that let you play events and then you banish them. Like, in Unicorn, like in Harmony, in Friends Forever, we have Harmony, Unicorn, Starlight Glimmer. That whenever you played Unicorn or something like that, I think she would let you play an event from your discard pile, and then you banish that
banish
event.
it. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe Unicorn aggro?
It could be. Could be. I think TP brings up the high magic cycle, I believe, that banished
Yes.
from hand for color entry. Yeah.
Yeah, free power.
Yeah. Which is, what I was saying, right? There's like stuff from every set basically that synergizes with this.
Yeah, you go to Royal Archive and type in banish and just go through the entire list.
Yeah. So, super duper cool.
Hey, I promised you cool cards today.
Yeah, you delivered. And we still have 2 more to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of, okay, the royal family, which I'm very surprised is not an ultra rare, but all right, there it is. Our swarming guests. Well, yeah, the templating will obviously be fixed on that. 3 power, 3 rec, 3 cost, pink and white, hasty, unicorn, alicorn, full royalty, obviously. Oh, right, shining. He's the unicorn there.
Yeah.
When you play this card, Each player may put a friend or resource from their hand into play. Oh. Oh, each player. Okay. So a little bit.
So yeah, it is a symmetrical ability.
So and you would go first, right?
That is a good question.
Right. Because like say the opponent puts Grogar's lair into play with it.
Well, no, if they put Groger's lair, it doesn't matter. It will trigger anyway. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. GP can clarify. You choose first, but they enter play simultaneously. So yeah, I would assume Groger lair actually triggers because it is in play at that point.
Okay. Fair enough. Right. So yeah. Right. You're not revealing. Okay. Right. So so they don't necessarily know what you're going to put into play. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I see this card, and given the Continentals prep that I've been doing and the way the meta is right now, I think of Reanimator right away, and putting a Tricorn
Yeah.
into play, which yeah,
It is a royal family.
makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing here is that like we know that symmetrical effects are often not as symmetrical as they seem. But I think this card actually goes like it's while yeah, you might have like you probably if you include this card, you'll probably build your deck around it. It's still like your opponent will get something out of it.
Mhm.
Any deck
Well, I mean,
has either resources or friends.
if they're hands-all events right now, then
Yeah, but that's like very unlikely.
I mean that
It happened.
living to
I
laugh
mean that.
combo has a lot of events in it.
I mean that has happened to me
Yeah.
several times when I play this game. And like, oh, my entire hand is just events. And usually that's a good thing because I'm playing a control deck and I want events. But most of the time, most of the decks will have friends or resources, and probably something that they want to put into play for free.
Wait a minute. You were talking about test games, right?
No, in general.
But like with this card, right?
No, in general.
Oh, I see. Okay. For a second there, I thought I just gotten a stealth spoiler that Control was viable in Fond Memories, because you were playing it in the test. But okay,
We'll see about
we'll
that.
we'll
I mean,
see. Fair enough.
it's hard to see what's viable or not.
Yeah,
I I always have my beliefs in control.
obviously. Um. Oh, oh, Grandpa's right. Fair point. A friend of the end is the one that dismisses.
Dismisses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, one goes. I mean, there are lots of possibilities. That Chrysalis. No. Yeah.
Yeah, the evil twin.
Yeah. Evil twin.
She's she's
Oh.
as that card enters play, I think, right?
Um. Yeah.
Can I check?
Anyway.
Pretty sure it has to be, yeah, as this card enters play.
Yeah. I mean, this feels a lot like the kind of card that can totally hinge a game. Really.
No, evil twin is as this card enters play. I just checked. He's not a win. Oh, Skystar is a win, yes.
Yes. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to some of those highlights where. Well, I don't know if such a card exists. Well, similar, yeah. The Reanimator deck goes through the whole process, boom, plays this card, brings out their Twilight or whatever, and the opponent just lays down like a random card that wins the game for them or something like that.
Yeah. But like that's a very specific
Yeah,
scenario.
I
I
know.
would like to
It's
see
only
it
gonna
highlight.
happen once or twice in the whole set, sure, but it'll be awesome when it does.
Yeah.
By the way. Anyway, Grandpa's
Yeah.
gonna say something. Oh, here it is. Dropping this into play at the end of your opponent's turn to put redeem. Ooh, Starlight into play. Ouch. That is a dirty play. Poof.
What we haven't touched on yet is that this card is also hasty.
Yep.
I actually don't know what the implications of this are. Like, when would you want to use this card as a hasty? Like, Reanimator does Reanimator care about putting things at immediate speed? Like,
Not so much.
right now it doesn't. Right now it doesn't do that because there's like no way to do that. I think there's no way to reanimate anything at immediate speed. Like the
Right.
closest we've got is that Redeem Starlight. But yeah, Animoy mentions Redeem Trixie is always the best option. While I agree, I'm pretty sure Redeem Trixie says when you play this card, so she won't trigger. Very sad.
So this is in the wrong colors, but on effect
For
like
what?
for farm actually. On an
Mhm.
effect like this is pretty good for farm, but yeah, wrong colors.
Well, maybe White Pink Farm? Hmm?
Okay, Ocellus farm, maybe,
Yeah, perhaps.
maybe.
She's very expensive though, and I don't have much belief in Ocellus. Sorry,
Right.
Ocellus. Unless we get some sort of card that like reduces the cost of that ability
Mhm.
somehow.
Well, I mean, theoretically, this card alone should be able to beat whatever troublemaker you're looking at, because this card is going to bring in some sort of card that really specializes in
Yeah,
face-offs.
yeah. You're not going to play this card to like put a Kevin into play.
Mhm.
You probably have this card for a reason. What resources can you put? Like this card can put resources at hasty speed. That's
Mhm.
not something that we can usually do.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
can give hasty to friends, but hasty to resources is something unusual, I would say.
right.
I
What are
wonder if
the
there's anything interesting
big
you can
bad
do with that.
ones? Let's see.
I mean, there's
Treehouse is
stick.
a very good one to cheat into play.
Hmm.
Yeah, stick is kind of the easy answer. Let's see. Other really big impact resources that are expensive.
But I was more looking at this from the Johnny side, in that like you can put resources at hasty speed.
Yeah.
Is there any resource that like might not be impactful on its own, but when you give hasty to it, it becomes something good?
TV gives you the correct answer. Heart's Desire.
Heart's Desire? Is that the card? Yeah, it is that card. Yeah, I have like 6 of it. I can't get rid of them. Finally, some use. Yeah,
But
I guess we can use Heart Desire to. So you play this card for free, AT. You get 4 AT back, so you get 1 AT,
hmm?
and your opponent puts something into play. I'm not sure if that's worth it.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of anything else on my head, but I'll bet you there's something out there.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, what a card! Another one that just makes you think about everything. Brings your whole life into focus.
I promised cool cards today, and cool cards we're getting.
Oh, gee, how are you gonna top the last two with the last one? Let's see.
Maybe I won't, but we'll see. I mean, what, you have seen one ultra rare so far? Maybe two?
I have from the whole set. Uh,
Yeah.
3, I think. That
Was
that
it free?
that that yellow one from last week was an ultra rare, right?
Yes, so I know I've had a yellow ultra rare, but I think that's it. I don't think you've seen.
There was the white one, the one that scores points when you, or wait, gains action tokens when you score points.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And there was a main, right? Or maybe
Uh,
not.
well, there was the blue
No.
pink one that you didn't spoil, that Sim spoiled.
Yeah. So yeah, you like We're just going through uncommons and rares here, and some commons too.
Yeah. So anyway, grayscale. Very nice. 4 cost, 4 power. No colors, obviously. Characters lose and can't gain colors other than their printed colors. So, okay. So, when this is in. Wait. This is a continuous modifier, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
What are you thinking?
well, so it sounded like they lose all their colors and then can get back their printed colors if you play a card that makes them do
No,
that.
no, no. They lose them until this, like, as long as this card is in play. If you remove this card, everything goes back to normal.
Right. So if I have a blue character that also has yellow and pink for whatever reason, this card enters play and it is now only blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
The common case of that would be motivational speech,
Right.
or also a rushed makeover and things like that. This card
Right.
prevents that.
Yeah. So this turns off, except for Fire of Friendship, basically all the
Yeah.
non-color fixing that's out there.
Yeah, so all of the changelings don't work with this card because they are back to colorless.
Hmm?
All of the resources that give the events that give colors to cards. What else is there other than changelings?
Smithers brings up Student 6 in the
Student 6,
chat.
yes.
Yeah.
Chrysalis main as well,
True.
since it's very similar to Student 6.
Hmm?
What other? We have some other things as well, I think, that I'm forgetting. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think this card is really strong in draft because entry is rare in draft, and like if all entry we have is colorless, oof.
Right. I mean, well, there's common entry friends in draft
Yeah, but
nowadays.
sometimes it's really hard to get the ones you need.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, and everyone, oh, wild card entry, I'll pick that instead of whatever else in the pack.
Yeah. Usually, generic entry is like the best you can get in draft. So,
Mm-hmm.
fair point to make. So, well, you would obviously want to play this in a deck that wasn't doing anything silly with its colors, which in constructed these days basically means monocolor, because basically everybody uses Rush Makeover and other stuff
Yeah.
to get into their other colors. And monocolor means pink if you're playing the combo. Although notably, that deck actually does still do Rush Makeover stuff.
I mean, if you're the one controlling the effect, you just play it when it's convenient for you. Just don't play it until you don't need colors.
I mean, you'd think that, yeah.
Yeah, imagine the moment when you play this card and it's like really good for you, but then they like remove your colors,
Right. I mean,
and now this card is a curse and you can't get rid of it.
yeah. Like I've played a fair amount of combo lately in preparation for the for Continentals, and like the blindfolds in that deck are one thing. I screwed myself over with that. Oh, it was great when I played it. Now all of a sudden later in the game, I want to play Legacy Leech and gain 20 AT or something, and I have a
Oh
blindfold
yeah,
in play, and it's awful.
yeah. I know that feeling. I went through it when I played Living to Love combo because Living to Love combo really likes blindfold, but also really hates it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Smithers actually makes a good point. If your opponent's using the limited Starlight main,
Oof.
this is awful.
Oof. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
This is only at uncommon. It very much could happen.
It's likely to appear, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 for 4. Like, I don't think you will see that much in constructed unless something really weird happens and it will become a good sideboard card. But right now, I don't think it's that impactful because, but in draft, I think it can be really impactful depending on the situation. Like, it's a good sideboard draft card for sure. I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so perhaps not topping the stuff from before, but interesting nonetheless. Let's see,
Yeah,
Grandpa's. What are you saying there?
it says that there's 2 entry cycle cards in the set that have
Ah,
intrinsic
right.
colors.
The Threntry and the quest cards.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. To encourage, yeah, to encourage friend-based entry to get back into the meta.
I wish this card removed all of the colors, like that good old Troublemaker. That good old Troublemaker was very fun. The Twilight one.
Right. Yeah.
I saw Leo build a deck around it. Basically, it locked your opponent out of doing anything by forcing all of their characters to be a Twilight Troublemaker, which meant that they didn't have any colors at all.
Right.
And since majority of the time all the colorless cards just give your characters colors, it was really hard for the opponent to do anything after that. It was like not like a complete lock because there are ways to get around it, but a very hard lock.
Right. Alrighty. Well, uh, slightly less spoilers than we normally do for a week.
Still
But
took us an hour though.
yeah, still because you picked such good ones. Always appreciate that. But next week is Everfree Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
and there will be playing physical cards for the first time in a very long time.
In 2 years.
Yeah, well, people might have gotten together over kitchen tables or whatever before then, but
It doesn't
uh,
count.
yeah, the first physical convention tournament we've had in somewhere around
Since
2 years.
Vancouver, I think. Vancouver was the last one.
Vancouver was the last one, I think. Yeah, um, and it will be streamed. Well, most of it at least. I don't know if Sim has said exactly which of the events will be streamed or the schedule, but presumably at least the Harmony and the Core tournaments.
Yeah. Continentals for sure, and that's like the primary event.
Right. Yeah. It struck me afterwards, or at least just this morning, given that they're doing Team Sealed and such. I wonder if they're going to make uh like sealed packs of the print and play sets.
Maybe. I mean, it's not that hard to do. We
Yeah,
have the
it's
sequences, you just make the packs, that's it.
pretty much, yeah.
And it's like it's done in cube drafts anyway.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's basically a cube that contains the set.
Okay. Unfortunately, Grandpa's is telling us that that's not happening,
Oh,
but
so it's gonna be team sealed of real sets.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't see how it is. Like, oh, I guess. Well, like if we don't count producing the actual proxies, constructing sealed packs shouldn't take that much time. You can just make a list and hand it out to players. Like, here's your stack of cards, and here's your stack of cards, and so on. I guess the problem would be making that stack of cards.
Perhaps. Yeah. But anyway, just here at the end of the stream, um, you know, you and I are going to be doing the commentary at least for the core tournament, as mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're only a week out, we know we know 3 of the decks that are going to be there because
Yeah, well,
Sim
2 of the decks.
strictly
3, but 2.
yes. What we know what 3 of the players are bringing. We know 2 of the decks that are going to be there. After Sim had their stream last week, we know that there's going to be Reanimator. We know there's going to be Combo. It is an open secret that sundial or pancake or whatever you call him is going to be there. It is an easy assumption he's going to be playing farm of some kind.
I don't know. Big Cheese is not playing control, so anything might happen at this point.
This is true. I mean, do you make an argument that the reanimator deck is like the most control-y thing that's going to be there? Maybe.
Well, yeah, it might be the most control-y thing there, but I don't.
Yeah, it's not the usual cheese thing.
It's
That's
not
for sure.
control.
Yeah. So, point taken. The question that we ask is, well, what do you think's going to come out on top?
So what deck might come on top?
I mean,
I don't think Reanimator has like a really good chance. It was always a good deck, but I think before it was like outpaced by those aggro decks. But now they kind of fell out of favor. So I don't know.
generally, yes.
So I think like Reanimator has a good shot. Yeah, I have belief in the deck.
Okay.
But I hope that there will be some unicorn control deck. Unicorn not as in the tribe, but as in a deck we haven't seen before, and it will take it. Like like Bugle with his rarity deck in 2018. I want something like that to happen.
Right.
I want
You
some sort of
want
list.
something new, something novel to come and just sweep everything.
Yes,
which is a valid thing to want. There's almost certainly other stuff out there. And
like, what do you think Bugle will be there, right?
Yes.
So what do you think Bugle will bring?
Well, Bugle actually told me what he's bringing.
Oh.
So
okay, I guess you shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah. No comment.
But if I had to guess, probably not an aggro deck, and probably not a farm deck. Like I Bugle doesn't tend to play aggro or like he usually plays control, be that Harmony or Core. I don't remember the time when he didn't play control. So yeah, so I would assume Bugle is going to bring some kind of control.
That is usually a valid assumption.
Yeah, so that's my hope. Bugle played farm at last Continentals. Last Continentals in last like the online thing or Ciderfest? Because I think at Ciderfest he didn't play farm, or maybe he did.
I should know what he played at Continentals, but I don't. The one
okay, and Namoy mentioned. Namoy says that the ones at Ciderfest.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what the meta was 2 years ago.
well, I do remember. Like I remember that the orange pink deck won the Lyra deck.
Yeah.
I do remember that Ivory and GP. No, GP was judging. Someone else played. Yeah, it was pre-rotation. Someone played the Ambassador of Loyalty farm. That was like one of the top decks out there. I remember that Max played the. I think he played Reanimator.
GP says it was Ambassador of Friendship farm.
Oh, so it was Bugle who played Ambassador of Friendship, Loyalty. Yeah, with Ivory.
Oh, Loyalty, okay.
And Cheese obviously played Pink, Purple, White.
Yes, I mean, that's not a concern.
That didn't change.
Okay. Well, for what it's worth, I asked you a question and then didn't answer it myself. As much as I agree and would want something to come out of left field, my money's on Living to Laugh combo. Having done a fair amount of prep work, and I played a bunch of games as Reanimator and as the pink deck.
You think it's faster?
I think so, yeah. It has a lot that it can do, honestly.
Okay, I will be happy with that outcome. Like, I like combo. Like my number one favorite archetype is combo, and then control, and then
Mhm.
everything else.
Yeah, and it is admittedly, and I suppose more skilled players would probably have a better time of it than I did. But it is like it is a combo that definitely makes you think. Like I've definitely
A lot
had
of combos do.
times playing it where getting through your deck is easy, but then you get to the point where you've only got 10 cards left. You're thinking, okay, now can I actually get to Unity 15 thing? And like a couple times, I caught myself just as like, oh boy, if I don't play this exactly right, it's going to be impossible for me to get to 15 pink.
Yeah, you have to plan ahead. Like
Yeah,
in combo decks, I think the planning ahead is more important than any other deck. Like
mhm,
even in control, you usually do plan ahead quite a bit. At least I do. Like I think what I'm gonna do next turn and maybe turn after that, and what I might get and what I might not get. But in combo, you kind of have to like plan through your entire game. I think,
pretty much, yeah.
which
But
makes it so interesting.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, both of them, the other one being Reanimator, they're both very strong decks, and there will be some excellent stuff. And for what it's worth, I'll say, like my practice, I've been basically the scrimmage partner for Pancake for the farm player,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I'm not going to say anything about his deck, but I will say that he's putting a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, I mean, he always did.
Yeah, so there could be some interesting stuff from there as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting, interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, so as mentioned, well, now it's only a week away, so the core tournament is the Saturday, pretty much the whole day Saturday, right?
Yep.
Uh, Morning, afternoon, and evening with breaks for meals,
Yeah.
and then the upper rounds of the uh, tier 3 playoff will be Sunday morning. Um, Over on Commentaries Magic's Twitch channel, you and I will both be there,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly for the Harmony tournament on Friday as well. We'll see. Hope to see everyone who's in the chat. Well, either at the con or there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think that brings us to the end of our content today. Our next stream is not going to be more spoilers because we'll be talking about the results, Continentals.
Yeah. So on 21st it'll be, I think.
Soon,
We'll
yes,
we'll talk about the results while they're fresh and hot. And then I think we're doing a shift, right? We're doing a stream a week after that.
correct.
Are we not?
Yes. We have a special stream scheduled for the 28th as well, to get us back onto the staggered schedule with Sim. And yeah, that one's going to be a little special, and
Yeah.
we'll talk more about exactly what that stream's going to be when we get closer to it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you want to watch this stream or any of our past content, check us out on YouTube. It's there in the chat. Feel free to give us a subscribe or whatever while you're there. No pressure. But yeah, I mean, the next time you'll be able to hear us talking will be next week on Commentaries Magic. Otherwise, 2 weeks from now for the next Meticulous Talk stream. Till then,
Yep.
I've been Cursor Chords,
I've been Hithroc.
and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.